Hello and welcome back to Popcorn Chat. I hope you guys are doing well. In this video, I sat down with Sarah Booth and we talked through her role in the Amazon Prime show Three Pines, which you can watch right now on Prime.
Hi,
Hi Sarah, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. It's but two Sarahs, one Zoom call. It's nice to.
I love it. I love it.
How are you doing today? Are you having a good week?
Yeah, it's been really good. Busy so far, and yeah, it's just flying by.
Amazing, amazing. So you're here today to talk about Three Pines,
hmm
which I've been watching, I've been loving. So yeah, if you want to just start off telling us a little bit about your character of Yvette.
Sure, yeah. So Yvette is a rookie agent, and she is very interested in becoming a detective. So once she gets the opportunity to work with Alfred Gamache, wow, with Armand Gamache, she just jumps at the opportunity, is so eager to have a chance to learn from the rock star of detectives. And she will basically do anything to, stay on board.
Amazing. Yeah, I think she's a really sort of interesting character. And, I think hopefully, obviously you're not going to say, but I think, her involvement and her sort of contribution towards the sort of detective team will hopefully become a little bit more prevalent as we carry on with the rest of series one. I mean, I hope so.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. And a lot of people did tell me as well that they're learning, you know, that like a lot of the audience is learning through Yvette, which is really fun because she's learning how to be a detective. She's also learning a lot of things culturally, which is great. So I saw someone post that and I was like, oh, that's really cool. That's a
Yeah.
really interesting perspective.
Yeah, it's a really good sort of observation. Sort of, I guess, sort of the rookie, shall we say? Sort of we're there with her, and yeah, it's a good sort of stepping stone, I think, into the sort of story that we're going with this show.
Mhm.
So I was just curious, were you inspired by any sort of other TV shows or films or even music when you were sort of developing your character, Vivette?
Yes, I was actually. I was able to really create her with the director, Sam Donovan, who is also one of the executive producers of the show. And we had a meeting before I did costumes or anything like that. I sat down with him and he had a mood board of what he wanted the show to look like. And there was a lot of Fargo vibes in there and also Twin
Yeah,
Peaks.
definitely.
Yeah. So Sam described the show to me as, touching on those tones. So that gave me a really good idea of what they were going for. And I also created a playlist while we were filming to what I thought was the feel of the show, and also some songs that were included in the earlier scripts that I had thrown in, just to kind of, be able to listen to it on the way to set and just kind of get into that mood.
Definitely, yeah. I find
Yeah.
it really interesting to see. And I think playlists have become a massive thing for a lot of actors, sort of getting in that mindset. Were you sort of doing it in between scenes as well? Were you sort of like in the zone or reading the
Yeah,
book?
sometimes I did read the books.
Mhm.
I'm up to book 8 right now. I read
Wow.
a couple books before we started shooting. I didn't read while we were shooting because I would get storylines confused.
Yeah.
And then I picked up again once we wrapped. So
Nice.
it's fun to, just see how the books translated to the screen. And I feel like when you jump into the books, you get that, that small town Three Pines feel that everyone is, raving about. They love it. They love all the characters and the quirkiness of it.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I think it works really well with TV. It allows these sort of characters to flourish, and you get to learn a little bit more about each character. Whereas, maybe in a film it might not work necessarily, but I think this is a great sort of format to get to know characters like Yvette. So yeah, I'm excited to see where the rest of the season goes. Definitely. You sort of touched upon a little bit there, Sarah, about how Yvette has this sort of eagerness to learn, and she's like trying to prove herself a little bit towards Inspector Gamache, and already she's beating them a little bit to sort of solving the details. I think she's sort of making her own mark. Yeah, she might be the rookie in this sort of situation, but I think she's sort of holding her own, and I think yeah, she's sort of She's solving it before the big guys sometimes.
Well, what's interesting too is that, you know, when you've been doing a profession for such a long time, sometimes it's so refreshing to get a, you know, to get a new recruit
Mm,
or, you know, just someone who's newer to the business or whatever profession you're in. It just kind of opens up your eyes to a different perspective, even if, you know, Jean-Guy thinks that perspective is not a good one,
yeah.
it's always it's always worth looking into. And I think that that's one thing she's starting to learn is really look into everything. Don't leave anything, you know, no stones unturned.
Mhm.
And she's good at that. I describe her as having puppy energy. So she's always like looking
Oh,
around,
yes.
you know.
Yeah, definitely. She's sort of always by the foot of Inspector, but you know, she's also going off and doing her own things. Like, oh, is this the right thing? And then, yeah, he sort of gives those little sort of, you know, details of like, oh, maybe you should always do this or not always do this. So yeah, it's great, like you say, seeing it from her perspective, and the audience was sort of on that same kind of level going through this.
Yeah.
So what I found really interesting, because obviously I'm from the UK, so we get a few sort of crime thrillers over here, but they're normally sort of set within the UK, or we get sort of our Scandinavian sort of dramas, or even some from America. So I found it really interesting to see one set in Canada.
Mhm.
And I feel like the culture of the small town is really sort of shining through. And you know, obviously, it's really interesting to hear about. You know, you've got the Indigenous people, you've got the French and English sort of spoken people. So, how was it for you to sort of find, like, you know, how amazing the reach of this show's got? You know, all around the world. Is it really amazing to see?
It's incredible. I mean, I knew we had something special, but when the rest of the world backs that, it just
Hmm.
feels good. And I mean, just being able to share, you know, that little part of Quebec is really special. I grew up about an hour away from that area.
Mm,
So
amazing.
shooting there was very much like, I'm home.
Yeah.
And Three Pines like has that feel that, you know, there weren't murders every week in my hometown. But there was, you know, that sense of community and
Hmm.
everybody knows each other. Everybody knows each other's business, which is like good and bad.
Yeah.
So I definitely soaked that up from my childhood. And, you know, I grew up in a bilingual town as well. So people were speaking French, English, Fringlish, all that stuff. So it felt very full circle to come home and play this role.
Yeah, it must be. Yeah, it must be lovely. It's like, obviously with jobs and stuff, you can go all over the world, and it must be nice to go somewhere so familiar, and go back sort of, yeah, 1 hour from where you are originally from. It must be
Exactly.
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's great because, you know, on the weekends you get to see family and friends, and it's perfect.
Yeah, amazing. And you touched on it a little bit there, Sarah, but how is it for yourself? Sort of, you speak a bit of English and French in this. How is it? Is it, does it come natural to you? Did you have to sort of, you know, learn a bit more French coming to this role?
Well, I've spent the last 6 years in Los Angeles. So whenever I would speak with my mom, I'd be like, we're talking French, we're talking French. I don't want to lose
Yeah.
it because it's helped me out so much in my career. So when I got this role, you know, I could still speak, you know, not perfect French, but
Mm,
you know, pretty good French. So I definitely just tried to watch more French media and just kind of like get that muscle working again.
yeah.
And being on set, being able to improv in French, and we have a French Canadian crew, so they were giving input. You know, if ever I felt like, oh, I feel like I would say that word in French, or I think I would say this whole sentence in French, and you know,
Mm.
I would just touch base with them and be like, does this make sense? And they'd be like, yeah, you know. So it was like a very like collaborative effort to bring that French side to her. But my mom, like the accent is my mom, so yeah,
So
that was
yeah, you have to call her up and be like, "Mum, I need to just listen to you and sort of, you know, encapsulate your voice a little bit for this role."
exactly, yeah.
Amazing. So what was it for you, Sarah, that sort of made you sort of want to get involved in this project? What was it? Was it a personal sort of element? You know, what sort of drew you to this role?
Well, I received the audition breakdown from my agent, and I saw the caliber of the project and who was behind it. And right away I said, oh, thank you so much for even considering me. But like, I think they're going to probably go for, you know, either a Canadian name or just a name in general. So the casting director that requested me for the audition, I've been auditioning for her my entire career. So I just kind of did it for fun for her, for me, and, you know, really like committed to this character 100%. and didn't really think anything of it, but thought, hey, let's just like have fun and give our best shot. And then I heard about a month later that they were interested, but that they thought like, whoa, it was way too big, like take it down, let the words be the comedy. So I retaped for them just to kind of give them,
Hmm.
a range for her. And then we met over Zoom and had a work session together, and found out I had the role a couple days later. So I really didn't think I had a shot. So I really just kind of had fun with it.
Yeah, it's one of those good surprises.
Excellent surprise because, like, I wasn't aware of the books when I auditioned, but once I started doing my research, I was like, oh my gosh, this is my backyard. This would be so
Yeah.
fun to be part of. So I definitely wanted to be a part of it once I found out more information. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. That's a really sort of cool way to sort of get into it, And I think, yeah, it's proving really successful. And I'm telling everyone to go and watch this show. Like,
Oh, great.
everyone go and watch it. Like, a lot of friends that are into sort of thrillers or like crime sort of stuff. I'm like, you need to go and watch this, and you'll definitely enjoy it. So that's, yeah, amazing. So yeah, as of recording this interview, we are halfway through the series, and I know I'm sure you're gonna be very sort of tight-lipped on this, but can you give us any ideas of what we could possibly expect in the latter half?
Well, we are allowed to say what episode, like what books
Okay.
are, because they're on IMDb. So the next two episodes are based on Murderstone,
Okay.
which is exciting. So you're going to get to know a little bit more of Peter's family and past and troubles and Clara. So that's really fun. It takes place in this beautiful manor. The setting's going to be a little bit different. The vibe's going to be a little bit different. So
Okay.
that's really exciting. And I honestly think that's all I can say.
That's okay.
I
That's
don't
okay.
know how much I can say. I know that you'll get to know the characters even more
Mhm.
deeper. And other than that, that's pretty much all I can say.
That's fine. I thought I'd see if I could get like a little detail, but no, I think that's definitely going to pique a lot of people's interest to carry on watching it, because I think we got a few good sort of character moments in that sort of episode 4. So yeah, it sounds like it's on a good sort of story narrative for the rest of the season. And my final question for you, Sarah, is: are there any other projects that you've got coming out soon that we can expect to see you in?
Sure. I just shot a few episodes of Murdoch Mysteries. So
Nice.
murder mystery is a thing for me this
Yeah.
year. And then I also have a movie out right now that's called Last Call, which people can find on Prime US. I'm not sure about UK, but I'll find out for
Not
you.
sure.
And it's also on Peacock and Tubi, but it's a one take feature film that we shot.
Oh,
Yeah, no cuts for 80 minutes, split screen as well. So we shot the two one takes at the same time. We're on the phone. It's
wow.
a movie about suicide, so it's a little bit of a heavier content
Hmm.
for those who might want to stay away from that. But it is a fantastic movie, and we've had a lot of great feedback and a lot of awards, and we are just excited for people to watch our little indie.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, I always love checking out sort of independent films and sort of B movies, things that don't really get like sort of maybe cinematic releases and things like that. So I'm always curious to check out any sort of independent films like that. So I'll keep my eyes peeled, definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah, but thank you very much for your time, Sarah. That's all the questions I have regarding Three Pines, and I'm sure we're all going to enjoy watching the rest of Series 1 unfold on Amazon. But yeah, thank you very much for your time today.
You're so welcome. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks, Sarah.
Bye.
Thanks so much for watching this video and my interview with Sarah Booth. It was great to sit down with her and chat through Three Pines and her career and sort of experience and knowledge within the industry. It was amazing to chat to her, and hopefully this is one of many sort of videos hopefully coming to the channel, talking with various sort of actors and their roles in upcoming projects. I really enjoyed it, and I hope there is more coming in 2023. As I said previously in my other video, I have now got a Patreon. It is by no means necessary, but there are various membership categories. If you'd like to join and support the channel and get access to early content before anyone else, then feel free to join that, and it's linked down below. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you very soon for another popcorn chat.